Hello everyone and welcome to our Week 9 battle against the Toronto Leaf Storms and OPJellicent, a man we played in the GBA D-League and had an absolute blast with. Hopefully this battle is just as interesting and entertaining. Obviously he plays a lot of hyper offense, so I do have to watch out for that. But this should be a very interesting battle. Definitely. So, we, as you may have noticed, had no upload last week. Unfortunately, due to time constraints and some scheduling issues from weeks prior to that, Tom was unable to get a team in time, and we ended up taking the forfeit win last week. And as a result of that, we actually qualified for the playoffs just on the back of getting that win, which is really interesting. I've never gotten into the playoffs on results of a forfeit, but hey, we're in, so the New York Empoleon will be featured in at least an 11th week. We are still fighting for the overall 1 seed in my division, as well as the overall 1 seed in my conference. So, depending on how that all shakes out, obviously Matt is playing incredibly this season. He's already beaten me, so he holds that head-to-head and has a differential of like 1 billion. So Matt's probably going to take over the 1 seed with Tom's loss. And then I am hoping with a win in this game against Sohan, we lock up the division and get ourselves out of possibility of range of the 4 versus 5 game, even if we lose our last game. Supposing, still technically pending, OPJellicent losing at least one of his last 3 games, or me winning the last one. So, but we do hold the head-to-head over him, so hopefully it all works out there. We do obviously still have to keep on fighting. Can't lay off the gas our last week either. Would rather finish 8-2 and have a chance of beating Matt out for the 1 seed. Obviously that's a really big deal, as opposed to finishing 7-3 and having to play whoever as the 3 seed instead of the winner of the 4-5 game, which obviously you'd rather play the lower seed in theory. There's going to be a lot of interesting things going on in the last couple of weeks. I'll try to keep you guys up to date on like records and things. So for now, Tom and Aaron are tied, and Aaron's actually overtaken Tom in terms of differential. So we're looking at like who the 3 seed is going to be between Omega and Omega and Tom and Aaron. So all sorts of really interesting things going on there. But right now we've got a match against Sohan, and his team is classic Sohan. Pheromosa, Kyurem Black, Staraptor, Necrozma, Mega Aggron, Tentacruel, Lycanroc Day, Darmanitan, Gourgeist, any form, Zangoose, and Gorbis, with Kyurem Black, Necrozma, and Lycanroc being able to use Z moves. Kyurem Black can use any, and the other 2 can only use offensive Z moves. His team, obviously, very offensive, as we know he loves to do. And last time I played him, I tried to go hyper offensive against him, and I won, but I won on the back of a crit into a 5-hit Rock Blast, into a 2-hit Rock Blast, into a 3rd Rock Blast that I landed. So, all sorts of wildness happened at the end of the last game. It was damage rolls, it was wild. So, hopefully this week, we don't have as much crazy hacks going on, but if we do, hopefully they end up working in our favor, and we are able to pick up a W this week. The team we're bringing is going to be Ranulf the Landorus is coming back once again. Adamant Nature this time with Flyinium Z, Earthquake Knockoff Fly, and Rock Polish. Just enough speed to make sure I'm outspeeding anything on his team choice Scarfed. So no matter what he brings, even Scarf Pheromosa, I believe that I am EV'd to outspeed it. And then otherwise just trying to make sure that I am going to be able to click a move on everything and do a lot of damage. Staraptor obviously can be an issue for this if I've already used my Z Fly, and especially Mega Aggron with counter is a pretty good check to my Landorus, but if I am clicking Earthquake, 2 of them is going to do a hefty chunk of damage. But otherwise I hit just about everything on his team, and Z Fly against Gourgeist, I'll go first, I'll click Fly, and then I'll be able to come down and kill it before it lands any attack, unless he goes for a substitute or something, which I have to be able to watch out for, but I do have knockoff as well in case I think that that's going to be the play. Pheromosa dies to anything, Z-Fly, a strong breeze, and then Kyurem Black is obviously something I'd have to whittle down before this thing can come in and sweep. Next up we have Spirited Away, our Chandelure, coming this week with a Shukaberry and Flash Fire, Modest Nature, Overheat, Shadow Ball, Toxic, and Psychic. Toxic is really there because I didn't really have another move that I wanted, and honestly, if he's in with something that isn't the... I don't think he goes into Mega Aggron, and nothing else in his team is immune to Toxic, so I might as well just be able to click it on whatever he switches into this to try to take the hit. I'm going to try to scout if it's a choiced Darmanitan with this. Shuka Berry will allow me to take the Earthquake, and then I can eat, obviously, the Flare Blitz if he goes for that, and get a Flash Fire boost. He has no Fire immunity, so Overheat with a Flash Fire boost and a Modest Nature, OHKOs a Kyurem Black, which is amazing. So he can't just go into that safely. And it does OHKO most of his team before I get a special attack drop. Even if I don't have the Flash Fire boost, Overheat's doing a lot of damage. Shadow Ball and Psychic are there for particular coverage moves. Since this thing can pretty well handle most Pheromosa sets. And then Toxic again, if I'm thinking I'm going to force a switch with this against like a Choice Darmanitan or something like, or a weakened Gourgeist or something like that, I can click Toxic. So that's always an option for me. Next up, we have Selkie, the Rabombi, Sticky Web, Quiver Dance, Moonblast, and Bug Buzz. This is one of those weeks where I think I want Sticky Webs up pretty early, unless I'm seeing the Tentacruel, because the Tentacruel obviously can spin them away, and I don't really have a way to OHKO a Tentacruel with this Rabombi. I'm not running Psychic, so I might bring this in like the early game, the early mid game, and try to get those Sticky Webs up, because I do want them up. They really do help me against his team a lot, and just preventing him from setting things up is really great. And then this thing with Moonblast can body, half his team, and Bug Buzz should do the rest. Mega Aggron, obviously an answer to this, but I can just Sticky Web on the Mega Aggron. And Tentacruel is something that I'm gonna have to watch out for with the Rapid Spin. Otherwise, hopefully I can handle most of the threats in his team with this, and whatever else I need to handle, I can handle other things. Next up, we have an Adamant, Serene Grace, Leftovers holding Jirachi. It is Paraflinch. He doesn't have an electric type, so I thought that Paraflinch made sense. He doesn't have a... Am I not seeing this right? Does he not have a ground type either? He doesn't have anything that's immune to a Thunder Wave. So, yeah, I don't think I can't see anything. So, click Thunder Wave, click Iron Head or Heart Stamp, depending on which I think is going to do more damage. And then against the Mega Aggron, I have Drain Punch, which covers that. Whereas Iron Head and Heart Stamp are, one of the two of them is neutral on everything else in his team. So hopefully being able to Paraflinch things is going to work. It never does for me, but I'm bringing that Jirachi this week. Hopefully it does do something. Next up, we have Mega Gallade coming this week with Jolly Nature and Justified, obviously. Close Combat, Psycho Cut, Knockoff, and Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak is there for that priority, just in case I need to pick off something like the Pheromosa with a Focus Sash, like a Staraptor with a Focus Sash. Force that thing. I can't actually pick off Staraptor with Shadow Sneak, but force him to switch things out. Gourgeist, Darmanitan, the Scarf. Just if I need to pick something off. Otherwise, Close Combat does a huge chunk to just about his entire team. Since his Gourgeist would be the only answer, that I do have the knockoff for the Gourgeist, though I do have to watch out for it going for a Will-O-Wisp. And finally, we do have the Mandibuzz. Air Slash, Defog, Foul Play, and Roost. Air Slash is there for the Pheromosa, since High Jump Kick does not OHKO me, since I am physically defensive. And then Defog is there if he tries to set rocks up on my side with something like the Necrozma or Mega Aggron, or Lycanroc. I can get rid of those, and then Foul Play, because he has a lot of physical attackers or mixed attackers that I can scout what their physical investment might be. And then Roost for general longevity, and it's a pretty standard Mandibuzz set, and hopefully this works out. Again, he plays hyper offensive, and my strategy and style is so not hyper offensive compatible, I guess is the right word for it, that we'll see how this goes. I don't have rocks this week. I have Sticky Webs, and I want them up badly, but again, Sticky Webs only do so much, especially when he might have a Scarfed Staraptor that's just going to pop in and say hello, and then do lots of damage to everything on my team. Staraptor's scary. But yeah, hopefully it all works out. Hopefully everything goes like I want it to, and I am able to pick up the W this week and hopefully lock up the 1 seed in my division and avoid the potential 4-5 game that we might have to go into. I'll see you guys back here in a second with that battle, though, after all this rambling. If you did stick through it, congratulations, you made it. And otherwise, I will see you guys back here in a second with that battle. Alright everyone, welcome back. You'll see already that we are in a different shirt, and it is a different day. As classically has happened recently, we are facing opponents after we do the team builder, right? Record the team builder, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, what are we looking at? He has everything I was afraid of. Gorbis, Tentacruel, Staraptor, alright. No Darmanitan. He does have the Mega Aggron, Pheromosa, no Lycanroc. He does have the Staraptor, let's bring that in real quick. No Lycanroc. He has the Gorbis. Alright, so no Darmanitan I'm okay with, no Necrozma I'm okay with, but Staraptor is really scary, and Gorbis can be a problem if it starts setting up against my team. Now, I do like webs, but he does have his Tentacruel, which I need gone before I set the webs up. He doesn't have the Darmanitan, which means Jirachi is pretty safe to lead. Really, anything other than the Pheromosa, which I really don't see being a lead for him, is fine. It's doable, it's handleable. So we're going to lead with Jirachi, maybe scare him into thinking that I'm going to set up webs. He'll go out into his Tentacruel or something. That would be the ideal. I do want my webs up at some point for sure, but I need that Tentacruel to be to the point where like it can't just switch in. And maybe paralyze so that like when it switches in it still dies. You know, those kind of things. Those little things. Mega Gallade looks really good in this matchup right now. Really hits everything super hard. The Gorbis is a problem if it sets up. But that's, you know, we'll deal with it when we have to deal with it. So he's going to lead with the Kyurem Black. And we do have the ability to take an Earth Power, I believe. Let me just double check. We can scout if he specs. If he specs, he has a 37% chance to kill. I have enough speed to guarantee to outspeed this thing, so I could just go straight for an Iron Head, which could put him. It should leave him in range of where he can set up a substitute. But I'm gonna click Thunder Wave here first turn. He has nothing immune to it, so it's pretty safe. He's Shadow Claw, so he's Scarfed. Okay, so we know he's Scarfed, and we're gonna eat that. And so Kyurem B is Scarfed. And he has Shadow Claw. And at that range, let's see. Can we scout out how much Shadow Claw did? 50 to 59%. So he's max attack, not adamant. Right? Adamant should have been like 60%. How much is... how much is 101 out of set 179? 56%. So yeah, it's not adamant damage. Now I could go straight for an Iron Head. I could go for a Drain Punch to get myself out of range of dying on the next turn, since Iron Head won't kill anyway. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to Drain Punch, put ourselves back in range of where we'll survive. Now we actually did a little bit more than that because I didn't count in the Leftovers recovery, which is annoying. So he may be adamant. That would have been a really low roll on an adamant. And so he's going to switch out. He's going to go out into Teresa. Teresa is the Pheromosa. We're going to Drain Punch here. It's not going to do a ton, but it's, I mean, Pheromosa doesn't have the best defenses, so that's fine. We'll start with that damage. Now this thing's really fast, obviously. Oh no! Alright, we'll be back. Alright, so we're back. Little bit of DC. Both of us were still connected to the internet, so it was kind of weird that, like, there was that problem at all. But, you know, it is what it is. We make do with what we got. And it looks like we've passed the point that we were at before. So, I was, just to get back into it, I just paralyzed successfully his Kyurem Black. And, he had a little bit lower of a roll on the drain, on the Shadow Claw, but, I'm at like 10 more health than I would have been otherwise. So we're gonna go right here. I mean, my two options are really either a Flyer, or my Chandelure. Chandelure makes more sense to me. He could Bug Buzz, I'd quad resist that. He could High Jump Kick, I am immune to that. He could Drill Run, and I have Shuka Berry. So the worst thing he does is Drill Run, because then I eat my Shuka Berry and then I can't take another one. But U-Turn, that's okay. So, U-Turn is fine. I should be able to eat... the Tentacruel's a problem to come in here a little bit, just because I don't have any water resistance on this thing. But, you know, that is what it is. So, let's see. He can go to... I can smell? That's the Tentacruel, yeah. So, I would love to get damage on this thing. And I do have Psychic, which does over 50%. Scald doesn't kill, but then I'm really not an answer to the Pheromosa anymore, because I don't have the Shuka stuff. 50% on this would be great. Scald scares my entire team. which is a problem because most of it's physical, and the one thing that's not has a focus sash that I don't want to just break. And that Scald doesn't kill if he's not specially invested. If he is offensively invested, then he has a chance to kill. If he's max special attack modest. Now, my one answer would be going out into Mandibuzz. He could Toxic here. I mean, I could only go into Jirachi to prevent that, and I really don't think Jirachi's a great switch-in right now. Mandibuzz can come in. It can go for a Foul Play or an Air Slash or a Defog if he goes for his Toxic Spike. So, we'll go out into Mandibuzz here. Really don't love Chandelure getting any more injured than it was. So we're going to go into the Mandibuzz. He's going to go for a Hydro Pump, so he's probably invested. But Mandibuzz does take that all right. Surprisingly well, actually. Yeah, he's not specially invested. Now, Foul Play is not going to do very much. Air Slash also isn't going to do very much, but is definitely more threatening to probable switch-in. Do I want to predict him switching out? Probably not, since I don't really threaten him very much. But, I mean, this is definitely better than something else having taken a Scald. But he did go for the Hydro Pump there. Air Slash is going to do like 13% if he's he's physically defensive, and Foul Play will do about 25%. So we'll go for the Foul Play, does a little bit more, and hits one of his physical attackers better. So he's going to switch out. He's going to go out into Anistar. Is that the Staraptor? That's the Mega Aggron. Okay. So we're just going to go for a Foul Play, which he hasn't Mega Evolved yet, so that's a crit. Does a decent amount, though. He's probably going to want to set up his rocks here. I can Foul Play again, since he'll lose his Rock Stab when he Mega Evolves, and I have Defog. I don't really want rocks up on my side, to be honest, so I would love to be able to Defog them away. Now, if he just tries to go for like a Rock Polish set, which I know he's done before, what do I have to switch into that later? I mean, I can always just switch in my Landorus. I can switch in my Landorus now, but I don't think I want to. I want that for later. So I'm going to go for another Foul Play. And if he is just going to Mega Evolve, if he goes for Rocks, that is what it is. I can just Defog afterwards. And if he goes for Setup, then I'll deal with what's in front of me. For now, I think Foul Play is the best move. We do see that we outspeed, which is really nice. Get off a little bit more damage. He goes for the Toxic. He connects it, so that's all right. You know, I don't love my Mandibuzz being Toxic, but that's okay. So we do see he's a little bit more supportive of a Mega Aggron. I could go out into Gallade at this point. Mega Aggron to a Gallade does a lot. Does a lot with a Heavy Slam. I could also go Lando here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's going to matter what I do right now. It doesn't. But, like, okay, the other thing is, like, if it does go through with this one more play, then I've got problems. So I'll make the switch into Chandelure here. If it plays it out, it doesn't. Okay. Alright, so we're back. Unfortunately, we didn't get the crit that we got last time on the Mega Aggron, so he has a little bit more health, but honestly, it's like 15% more. Not even that. So we'll make do. He said, you know, you good? I said, yeah. Let's just play it out. So let's not stress too much about it. I'd rather just try to play this game on Wi-Fi and not have to switch over to Showdown, etc. So we don't have much information about his offensive spread yet. Wow, that is unfortunate. Cannot believe we are doing this again. For the second time in 2 weeks, we are back on Showdown. And you know what I'm really bad at? Showdown. Now, at this point, I haven't decided if I'm going to show off the fact that we had 6 DCs and try to, like, show you guys my thought process for my moves at the beginning, or if I'm just going to jump into this. So I'm just going to jump into this, I guess, and if I decide to cut that out, or speed it up or something, then we'll get there. Now, we did try, I mean, to Sohan's credit and to, you know, really the effort that was required, we did admittedly try many, many times to make a Wi-Fi battle happen, but the servers were being weird yesterday, and so we decided to just go about and do it on Showdown. Now, of course, it takes the wind out of your sails when you're doing a live comm to have 6 DCs and then switch to Showdown halfway through a battle. So, unfortunately, I definitely, like, felt it just, my live comm was bad. So I decided not to run it. I decided to just do a post comm again. So second time in 2 weeks that we are doing a Showdown post comm. I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We won the first one, so let's see how we do here. Now, we are seeing his team here, as you guys may have seen already when I talked about it in the Wi-Fi uploads, or if not, here it is: Staraptor, Pheromosa, Kyurem Black, Gorbis, Mega Aggron, and Tentacruel. I want my webs up. I need the Tentacruel to be weakened significantly before I get my webs up. Looking at this team, Rocks would be super helpful, but that's unfortunately, they didn't bring them this week, so we're just going to get started here. Lead is going to be Jirachi versus the Kyurem Black. I know that I outspeed if he's not Scarfed, so I'm going to stay in and see what happens. He goes for the Shadow Claw. He does about 60%, which means that I am going to... I know that he's an Adamant Nature, or if he's not Adamant Nature, he's got some sort of boosting item, but he must be Scarfed. So we're going to paralyze him, and that's going to really be pretty great. Now, this happened during the earlier battle, so I'm just going to kind of speed through this a little bit, but he's going to go out into his Pheromosa, and at the same time, I'm going to go for the Drain Punch, trying to get some health back for the Kyurem, knowing that I can probably take another hit, and then go for an Iron Head after that and take out the Kyurem. Pheromosa scares me out into my Chandelure, so I am going to just go into it. It handles pretty much everything the Pheromosa wants to do. He goes for a U-turn, that's fine. He goes out into Tentacruel. Now, at this point, I could have stayed in, and I could have gone for a Psychic and done about 50%, but I decided Tentacruel was a little bit too scary for that. Chandelure, obviously kind of important for the rest of my team, really handles the Aggron better than anything else on my entire team. And if I can get the webs up, handles just about everything. So, decided to go out into my Mandibuzz on his Tentacruel. He actually goes for the Hydro Pump here instead of the Scald, so that's even better because that would have just like destroyed my Chandelure. Now at this point, my Mandibuzz is going to go for a Foul Play on his Mega Aggron, switch in. The first time we did this battle on Wi-Fi, I got a crit there, and I do another Foul Play after this turn, and he was down to 50%. Now, that's significant. This is worth remembering, that the first time, if everything had gone the same, he had gotten critical in the first Foul Play. Just keep that in mind as we go forward. So Mandibuzz goes to the Foul Play, gets a little bit of leftover recovery. I figure there's really not much he's going to be able to do to me, so I'm just going to go for another Foul Play here. Like I said, I go for it twice, and you can see that there's about a 13 to 15% difference between where he would be and where he is now. But that is the way Cookie crumbles sometimes. We didn't get a crit on the recreation, and I figured it's not really worth continuing to try recreating for that. So at this point, this is where it goes. This is where it's different. This is where things are unique. And this is where we didn't get to. We got to that point with the Mandibuzz in the actual games, and then we got disconnected twice. And then we tried to connect again, and we got disconnected right away. And then we got into like team preview, and then we missed a Thunder Wave, so we tried again, and it was a mess. It was a mess. So at this point, it's different. So, gotta focus a little bit more, because even if I show you the first stuff, you won't have seen this. My Chandelure comes in, he goes for the Stealth Rocks. Again, I figured unless he goes for EQ, there's not much he can do. And I am Shookaberry, so I can take an EQ if he wants to go for it. And then I can click Overheat and really do a lot of damage to his Mega Aggron, or whatever he switches in, since his only resistance to Overheats are his Water types. He does actually go right out into the Tentacruel, which I thought about predicting, but decided not to, because Overheat still did about 40%, whereas Psychic only would have done about 50%, so it's not like that much better. And at this point, I go into Mandibuzz. This may have been a big misplay, but he goes for a Hydro Pump and misses, so I don't take the damage. And this actually allows me to get a free Roost off, since he does outspeed me. He goes for another Hydro Pump and misses again. So at this point, we're just getting Showdown, and we're kind of talking about it in the sidebar, but you can't see that from here on the replay. So at this point, he finally hits a Hydro Pump, and I am going to defog away the rocks now that I probably shouldn't have been able to do without taking nearly as much toxic damage as I could have otherwise done. And I'm going to Roost one more time here as he misses his 3rd out of 4 Hydro Pumps. He's down to just 3 Hydro Pumps left, so I do have to keep that in mind, since if he runs out of Hydro Pumps, my Chandelure walls this Tentacruel pretty much all the time. So he's going to switch it out and try to be safe. I go for Foul Play. I think that was a big misplay. I should have switched out my Mandibuzz here. It was pretty healthy, and now it is not. And so at this point, I have no choice but to switch out into my Mega Gallade. Now, this is where he goes for the EQ, take a little over 50%, that's fine. This is where my Mega Gallade is going to go for a close combat. He should have had a crit damage the first time and been down to about 35%. Again, that's not significant until your Mega Gallade hits a close combat that rolls him to 1%. That should have killed the Mega Aggron. We should have still had our Mega Gallade. Instead, we're dead, he's alive. And that means damage on something has to come down here. So I do go out into Jirachi. I figure Drain Punch is just going to be free. But let me go for the Heart Slam in case he decides to preserve this and switch out. He doesn't. That's fine. We're going to just get a little bit of leftover recovery and take out the Mega Aggron. But at what cost? The cost is a lost Mega Gallade. And then Jirachi's going to take 30% from a Staraptor. Admittedly, definitely should have known it was banded at that point from the damage if I had done the calc. But I didn't do the calc because I'm playing on Showdown and I play too quickly on Showdown and I don't pay attention. And this is my fault. I should have known it was banded right there. And that will play a role as well. I'm going to go for another Thunder Wave, try to hit the Staraptor. It does not even hit the incoming Kyurem, which is unfortunate. I go for a Drain Punch here. I definitely should have gone for an Iron Head, and I recognize that. But I decided I was going to go for the Drain Punch, try to get enough health back to survive a Shadow Claw. Turns out he's actually Chople Berry, which is fine for the Mega Gallade. And I do not get enough health back to survive the Shadow Claw. He doesn't get full para, and then we die. My fault. That one's my fault. The crit earlier should have been in effect, but that is what it is. We're going to go out into our Rabombi here, go for a Moonblast, and take out the Kyurem. I thought about Quiver Dancing there, but it wasn't worth losing the Sash. Now he goes out. Okay, this is where he goes out into Staraptor. My play 100% of the time should just be to click Moonblast. Because I should know that he's banded, not Scarfed. But I thought he might be Scarfed. Because we could have gotten 2 Moonblasts off easily and killed the Staraptor because we would have outsped it. But instead, we actually switch out right here into my Landorus. I don't remember that he's banded because I didn't calc it before. Then is where I calc it. When he does 68% while intimidated to a Landorus, I was like, oh god, what is he? And he's banded, and that is confirmation. But the confirmation should have definitely come on the Jirachi when he did 30% there. Goes for another Brave Bird because he does outspeed me, takes me out. So I lose Landorus, where I definitely didn't need to. Could have used Rabombi there. Instead, I do go back out into the Mandibuzz. He's going to switch out at this point because my Mandibuzz can take a -1 Brave Bird, but I really am running out of Brave Bird switch-ins, so I do figure Roosting here is going to be my best play. He's going to go for a really big high jump kick, land it, crit it, of course, whatever. And then I'm going to Air Slash away his Pheromosa. And so Mandibuzz is looking like it's going to be helpful, except it's too weak now. At this point, he goes out into the Gorbis. I actually thought I would outspeed the Gorbis on the first turn, so I went for an Air Slash instead of a Foul Play. Should have gone for a Foul Play. At +2 attack and -1 defense, Foul Play would have done a ton. Air Slash still does 40%, but I let this thing get free setup. Again, I do not play well on Showdown, and it's well documented that it's definitely not my preferred medium. So anyway, he's going to take me out with an Ice Beam. At this point, I have no choice. I have to go into my Rabombi. I have to go for a Quiver Dance here. He crits the Hydro Pump, lands it, crits it, but I go for the Quiver Dance, which means I outspeed this, which is pretty good. But I don't have the Psychic for the Tentacruel. If I did, I actually could have won this game since I don't think he had Quick Attack on his Staraptor, or at least he never showed it. But he does go into Tentacruel. If I had Psychic, I would have killed it. I would have been fine, but I have to go for Moonblast because I don't. And I get the Special Attack drop, which won't matter too much. Sludge Wave is going to take out my Rabombi. Chandelure is going to come in here. Now, because of the Special Attack drop, I actually do survive a Hydro Pump here, which is pretty wild that at -1 it just doesn't kill. But we do go for the Psychic, take out the Tentacruel, but we're not going to outspeed the Staraptor, and so a lot of misplays, especially the one where my Mega Gallade just died, because I think the Mega Gallade put on a lot of pressure on the rest of his team, since it outsped everything except for the Pheromosa, and would have had priority for small chip damage, and I wouldn't have had to go into my B like that and lose the Sash, as well as not realizing this thing was banded before on the Jirachi. Those are all things that, if I'm playing on Wi-Fi, I realize, and I don't want to begrudge Sohan. He played well enough to win the game. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Losing the crit, he actually asked me, do you want to try to recreate for the crit? And I was like, no, it's fine, don't worry about it. Not realizing that it would matter, pretty significantly going into it. But, I made some mispredictions. I could have played a little bit better, I think. I'm not going to, try to sit here and say that I should have won and I'm better than that. No, I lost, and I lost fair and square, and that's the way the game goes sometimes. But I really am sick of Showdown for League battles. I will never do a Showdown League because I cannot focus on Showdown at all. when I'm doing a battle on it. I don't do the calcs as well. I don't sit there and pay attention as much. And it's my fault. Like, I recognize that. But I get into Wi-Fi. I like Wi-Fi, so I'm going to stick to it. I love it. But yeah, congratulations to Sohan, his 1-0 win. With this, you may recognize that my last 5 uploads, I believe, maybe 6 uploads, have all been 1-0s, which is insane. That is ridiculous. Like, I need to win big or lose big. Like, I need to stop getting 1-0'd or getting 1-0s because it's absurd. But we are 6-3. We have clinched a playoff spot, as I said at the beginning of this video. With some other results, we are, I believe, either still a game up on Omega or we're tied. But either way, we hold the differential, the head-to-head matchup. So if we tie in differential, we win the division. So we got to win next week. We're playing DS Gaming and the Birmingham Vulpix next week in the final week of the ICBA. And we are also going into the final week of the IBL, in which we, well, I would say I know the results of the week. Wait a minute. We are also going to the final week of the IBL, where we are also going to be vying for a playoff spot, needing a win against Matt O'Shea and the Montreal Milotics. So, need some wins next week. That'll be lots of work, but lots of fun, I think. Obviously, high-pressure games are more interesting. There's just more going on. So, I will see you guys next week as we take on those 2 battles and have some fun seeing where we get. But we have clinched a playoff spot, at least in the ICBA, and we are looking to do so in the IBL as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I said it last week, I will say it this week, I promise to not go back to Showdown if I don't have to, because I just can't stand it. And I won 1-1-0, and I lost 1-1-0, and I'm done. Like, Showdown has a bad memory with me. I've got a bad history of it on Wi-Fi battle or on League battles, so we're done with Showdown if we can prevent it at all costs. I will honestly delay battles before I go back to Showdown because I'm just sick of it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and take care, everybody.